This is Joe Malone. It is the Bulls Chat podcast, and joining me, we have the head coach, the general manager of the North Iowa Bulls, Todd Sanden. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning, Joe. How are we doing?
Doing good. Are you sitting next to the fireplace this morning?
No, I'm actually sweeping outside our locker room at the rink. All the sand and salt with the snow and cold.
Oh, yeah.
Makes a mess on my skates.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. You know what? The ice rink, actually one of the warmest places you can be right now.
It's definitely warmer in here than it is outside, without a doubt.
Oh, well, things were hot at the Mason City Arena this past weekend. Had Granite City coming in for the first time this season. The Bulls and Granite City had split the previous meeting way back in October, one win apiece. And this one was a battle from beginning to end. Talk me through this 7-5 Bulls win against Granite City.
Well, I think if you're a fan of the Edmonton Oilers in the 80s, you would have loved that hockey game because it was a bit of a back-and-forth affair in which it kind of felt like on the bench, the last team that had the puck and got a shot off was going to win. I think it was a lot of goal scoring, more than to my liking, that's for sure.
Well, I know talking with you after the game, you had mentioned the lack of disciplined passing was kind of something that was perturbing you and may have led to the back-and-forth nature of that, where I was like, wow, what an exciting game. You and a couple other folks I talked to were like, we got to get better at the passing.
Well, I mean, that's part of our details, too, that for our game to be effective, it's a high pace and high execution game, and I just didn't think our execution was, where it needed to be.
Now, this game featured a back and forth where the Bulls would have a 1-goal lead, and then immediately Granite City would tie it up. Granite City would take the lead. The Bulls would jump back in, tie it up, and it wasn't until the empty net interception backhanded goal from Sota Isogai that either team had a 2-goal lead, and that ended up being the final margin. Talk to me about that play that Sota made to give that buffer as Granite City was pouring the pressure on at the end of the game.
Yeah, I just think he was able to pick a puck up off the wall, and I'm not sure. I'm sure he was trying to get it directed towards the net. I don't think he really had a chance to look at the net to send it that direction, but I mean, these guys are elite-level athletes, and they're aware where they're at on the rink and the direction to the net. So just felt really fortunate to get that goal at that time because obviously Granite City was coming pretty hard there.
Now, one other thing that happened in the game with about 10 minutes to play, you made a goalie change. And in a game that's featuring the amount of goals, the amount of shots, and just the back-and-forth flow of it, first off, why the change? Is everything good? And secondly, is that nerve-wracking as a coach to put in a goalie with 10 minutes to go?
Well, to answer the second part of your question, it's extremely nerve-wracking because the guy sat on the bench for 50 minutes of the game. And this was actually Max Gutierrez's first minutes with the North Iowa Bulls after a week of practice. So looking at that, yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but during that media timeout, Evan Babaku had mentioned Austin Kessler, our trainer, and myself that he was having like a shortness of breath, and he got hit a couple times in practice on Thursday up high, where it kind of created the same result, and he had one of those shots in the third period against Granite City, and he was just having a tough time catching his breath. So I asked Evan, I'm like, hey, is this a situation where you want to pull yourself out and just kind of regroup? Or do you want to try to finish? And he said, no, I think I got to get out. I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe. So we allowed him, obviously, to come out, and I think he went right down the tunnel and to the locker room with us, and then Max went in, and the rest we know is history.
Yeah, Max ended up shutting down the Granite City offense. That and combined with the defense, limiting the amount of opportunities that they had. Now, let me ask you about this. When a player comes to you and says, Coach, I don't know that I can go, that's got to be tough on them to do because, as you were mentioning, these are all elite athletes you got here. Everybody's got that competitive spirit. Do you, when somebody says that to you, you basically got to go, well, this guy knows his body. He knows what's going on, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Like we respect our athletes. Our athletes respect our team and what we're trying to get done here. And we constantly preach it and have an Austin Kessler in the building every day. We're here to have our guys playing. Austin's job is to get them back on the ice as soon as possible if they're dinged up, banged up, injured, what have you. So if a guy does come and say, hey, Coach, I just can't go, we respect that, and we know they want to play. That's why they're here. And obviously being a pay-to-play environment, I mean, nobody wants to pay for hockey when you're not getting game time. So, no, it's unusual. It doesn't happen very often. But, again, we respect our guys, and our guys respect our team and their teammates to make sure that they can be the best that they can be.
Yeah, you talk about teams switching goalies. That's a team right there where, you know, everybody's got to pick up wherever things are at. The Bulls picked up a lot of goals in a little bit of time on Saturday night against New Ulm. The Bulls had a 3-0 lead, and then a 3-minute span of the second period put in 5 goals. Now, with a team that it can strike quickly back-to-back, I'm not that surprised to see the Bulls score back-to-back goals in like a minute, but 5 in 3 minutes, I don't know that that's ever been done.
Dude, I think that was 5 or 6 line changes in a row where we scored a goal during the consecutive shifts. So, looking at it, it's really quirky and weird that happens because it hardly ever happens. I don't know if it's ever happened here before that we've scored on 5 or 6 consecutive different lines.
And it was tough to keep track of. Let me just say that. From the scorer's perspective, from the score box and whatnot, it's like, okay, who scored when and who had the assist? And now there's another one. Oh, my goodness. Let's just we'll just announce everybody has scored and everybody has gotten an assist in the last 3 minutes.
Right.
So now going from that onslaught of being 3-0 and then all of a sudden 3 minutes later it is 8-0. Did you change to more of a defensive approach? Because the goals basically shut off after that 3 minutes of onslaught.
You know, I don't think we did, and I think we always preach just keep doing what you're doing when things are going well. Keep doing what you're doing. But I think it's I don't think you can expect to sustain that kind of production throughout the remainder of the game. And I think there's a certain bit of relaxation when you get a lead that big that you're not pressing as hard. So I'm not saying our guys didn't play hard after that moment, but you're just settled into the game and you're not pressing. So I don't think we created a bunch of extra chances after that point.
And your thoughts on Max Guchar's first full game in net, only giving up 1 goal?
Thought he was really good. When you look at Max's history, he's another guy, along with the rest of our team, that we're hoping gives us a chance to win a championship again this year. And in his first couple outings, we thought he was really good.
Now, next up for the Bulls is a lot of windshield time. Traveling to Granite City tomorrow night, Wednesday night, depending on when you're listening to this. Taking on the Lumberjacks in a game there in Sauk Rapids. Friday and Saturday at Alexandria. Sunday at home against Wilmer. And if you go back to last Saturday night against New Ulm, you will have played every team in the division in the span of about 9 days, if my math is right. Is that difficult to game plan for every team in the division in the course of a week?
Well, I think the answer to that is yeah, definitely it is, because you can't break down that much video. At that point, you're really just going with team tendencies and what we've learned in the recent past. So the nice thing is you've played all those teams recently, so you don't have to spend a ton of time breaking them down because it's in your memory, and you can go back and probably just look at goals against and special teams formations and that kind of stuff. But no, it probably makes it a little bit easier when you're playing those games in such close proximity.
Okay. Now, Sunday is Valentine's Day. Home against Wilmer. The Bulls have some special promotions. You can read more about it at northiowabulls.com for fans to come out and enjoy the the special holiday. I have a question. Because you are working on Valentine's Day, are you doing something extra special for your wife to make up for the fact that you're working on Valentine's Day?
Yeah. My wife Teresa will be down for the weekend. I'm sure we'll all have to figure something out. We've historically play on Valentine's Day here, so it's always a bit of a scramble for me. As most women know how men are, we don't really plan too far ahead. So I'm in that not planning too far ahead mode, but we'll have a good time, and we're going to enjoy the game together.
Well, the nice thing is, with the weather the way it is, it's easy to keep the wine chilled. So,
without a doubt.
Now, a couple of things I want to touch on: the COVID regulations, proclamations, all that stuff. Always in flux, changing. For the North Iowa Bulls, Mason City Arena, things are going to continue to kind of operate basically the way they have. About 55% capacity. That will stay in place. Face coverings continue to be required at Bulls home games because they play in a city-owned, city-leased building. And one change is you can stand up and eat now, stand up and have a beer or whatever the case may be. But, just putting that out there. And I'm guessing that you're probably keeping some of the same regulations for the players to try and keep everybody healthy.
So I think that's the biggest X factor we're dealing with this year is the COVID-19 issues and how you have to manage your team. We're excited that some of the restrictions have been lightened, but I still see it in an environment in our facility with our fans and our players to just do the right thing. We certainly encourage people to stay masked and socially distanced, and our players as well. It's just about taking care of each other and staying safe and healthy. So we still want people to come out and have a great time, but to do it safely and just be aware of others that we're all looking out for each other here.
Well, it's kind of like over the course of a hockey game. You don't want to let down your guard with 3 minutes to play and end up losing the game.
Absolutely, and I mean that's a good analogy, Joe. I mean, let's just make sure we're taking care of our business, everybody, and enjoying our time here at the Mason City Multipurpose Arena.
Now, before we go, I want to talk about some of the dates that were released by the NA3HL. Semifinals will be going on the weekend of April 1st through the 4th. Divisional finals, April 8th through the 11th. And then the Fraser Cup Championship, which will crown the national playoff champion of the NA3HL, will be in Missouri this year at St. Peter's Recplex, which is just fun to say, in St. Peter's, Missouri, which, based on my Google search last night, right near St. Louis. Your thoughts on having the Fraser Cup take place in a new location this year?
Joe, after what happened last year, they could hold the Fraser Cup in Russia, and we'd be excited to go. I mean, it doesn't matter where it is. If we get the opportunity, and we're fortunate enough to make it there again, we don't care if it's in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, or St. Peter's, Missouri. It's just the right way to finish a season. And of course, we understand why seasons were ended last year when they were. But yeah, we're excited about that opportunity. We're excited that the league is supporting that opportunity.
And do you know, is this the sort of thing fans are going to be allowed into? I'm not sure what the climate is in Missouri with regulations and all that. Yeah,
with that just being announced recently here, we haven't delved too much into the details on what's going to be available for fans and scouts and the such. So I think that's information that'll be determined at a later date.
Okay. Well, we've got, as the calendar looks, 2 months until that rolls around, April 15th through the 19th with the Fraser Cup Championship. Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll see you at the rink on Sunday, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks, Joe. We always appreciate the time.
That is the head coach, general manager of the North Iowa Bulls, Todd Sanden.